Hey Haunter, Squash here for episode 9 of Nigel Thornberry gets summoned to Monster Hunter Wilds while smashing monsters with the switch axe. Last episode, we killed a water balloon dog Mizitsune, the flying bastard Rathalos, and a rusty monster Jindahad. Still raising my hunter rank to 40 for Gore Magala questline. Anywho's, time for ugly dolphin Uth Duna. You ever try to swat a living oil slick with arms? Because that's what fighting Uth Duna is. It's like if the Exxon Valdez became sentient and signed up for jiu-jitsu. And yet, here I am wading into this sludge kraken's personal space with the elegance and grace of a man holding a chainsaw in a dream. The switch axe. Oh, my sweet hybrid baby. This isn't just a good matchup, it's a cosmic alignment. It's Shakespearean. It's Monster Hunter's version of peanut butter meeting chocolate. If chocolate could all slick tackle you into the shadow realm. Now, the first thing you need to understand about Uth Duna is that it's a walking environmental lawsuit. It's less a monster and more a cautionary tale about improper waste disposal. This thing waddles in, belches out more goop than a Nickelodeon awards show, and coats the battlefield like it's prepping it for a slip-and-slide championship. Other weapons, they weep, they flail, they drown in the goo, but the switch axe, we thrive in the goo. We baptize ourselves in that viscous nonsense and emerge stronger, shinier, more unhinged. Uth Duna's got this move where it just flings itself forward and you think, it's like a big oily dolphin. No, it's like a freight train filled with Vaseline and spite. But that's when you flick the switch axe into sword mode and go full Beyblade on its ribs. You slide around like a possessed figure skater with a vendetta. That goo, that's not a hazard. That's a free skating rink sponsored by Terror. And the switch axe doesn't slip, it pirouettes into critical hits. And let's talk range. Uth Duna's got tentacles that could strangle a wind turbine. That's fine. The switch axe is reach, baby. I don't need to be right under your gross face to ruin your afternoon. I can just clip an oily limb from 10 feet away and watch it flop like a wet sock full of batteries. Meanwhile, great sword users are still back there, charging up like they're powering a small country. By the time they get one hit in, I've already redecorated Uth Duna's entire digestive system. Now I know what you're thinking, but switch axe has downtime. You sweet summer child. What you call downtime, I call tactical flourishes. When my gauge dips, I do a little axe form waltz. I pretend I'm doing lumberjack ballet. I hit a juicy tender spot, then slam into sword mode like I just unlocked my final form. It's not just fighting, it's performance art. Uth Duna tries to vanish into the oil and reposition. I reposition faster, with an overhead chop that could split Mount Kilimanjaro. And you ever seen an elemental discharge on this thing? It's not a move, it's a full exorcism. You stick that blade into Uth Duna like you're jump-starting its nightmares, then boom. Goo goes everywhere, tentacles flail, birds flee the region, and you're standing there in slow motion, covered in viscera and pride like a Michelangelo statue that just bench-pressed a sea god. You try doing that with dual blades. What are they gonna do, tickle it to death? You poke Uth Duna with dual blades and it just absorbs them. Long sword, buddy, it doesn't care about your anime combos. Uth Duna is built different. It eats katana swipes for breakfast and still has room for brunch. Gunlance, that's adorable. Let me know how those heat gauges help you in the middle of a tentacled tsunami. And don't even talk to me about bow. You really think your tickle arrows are gonna make a dent in this creature made of despair and petroleum jelly? While you're busy finding a hill to play sniper on, I'm in there, front row, orchestra pit, conducting the symphony of suffering with my gleaming, explosive baton. Oh, and Uth Duna enraged? Now that's where the fun begins. The mist comes out. It's not just fog, it's the atmospheric manifestation of its bad mood. Hunters panic. Everyone's rolling around blind like they're in a budget horror movie. But me, I'm charging my switch gauge with the confidence of a man who's read the spoilers. Because when you hear that click of sword mode revving up in the fog, you know something biblical is about to happen. It charges, I sidestep. I sidestep like I'm in a ballroom dance and it's prom night for carnage. I swing, I twirl. I get one good elemental discharge off and the fog lifts. Not because the weather changed, but because the game engine realized the fight was over. Boom. Environment reset. Hunter wins. Cue the applause. And you ever try chopping Uth Duna's limb off mid-projectile animation? With a sword and shield, maybe you get a nick. With a switch axe, you get results. It's like swatting a tentacle out of the air with a helicopter blade duct taped to fury. The physics give up. Uth Duna recoils like it just got served legal papers. And me, I'm already transitioning back into axe mode to finish the combo. Let's not forget the true joy of switch axe, style. Every other weapon looks like it's doing homework. We're putting on a show every hit. Fireworks every swing, interpretive dance. We are Broadway with an edge. Meanwhile, Uth Duna's trying to be all scary with its endless oil and trauma aesthetic, and I'm here slicing it like a birthday cake made of cosmic horror. Oh, and remember those golden blade projectiles Uth Duna loves so much. Guess what those are weak to? Timing, positioning, and giant, unrelenting slabs of switchified vengeance. That's right, I've parried those with my axe form. Pararied. You think insect glaives got air superiority? I've got grounded dominance. I don't need to be airborne. I just erase threats at ground level like a horizontal thunderbolt. And don't even get me started on the finisher. That final discharge where you plant your blade and explode it in slow motion. Oh mama, it's not just cathartic, it's cinematic. I've ended hunts with that move and had NPCs applaud. Uth Duna drops like someone pulled the cosmic plug, and the rest of the team just stares in reverent silence while I just goo off my pauldrons like it's a Tuesday. So yeah, bring me your eldritch puddle freaks. Bring me your environmental hazards and your endless wriggling horror tentacles. I'm not scared. I've got a blade that transforms, a gauge that rewards aggression, and a hitbox the size of a philosophical debate. Uth Duna may be made of nightmares, but the switch axe is the alarm clock that ends them with style. And if that fails, I'll just keep spinning until either Uth Duna dies or the Earth runs out of rotational energy. Either way, I win. After that disgusting land eel, we fight who likes to spread virus. Let's talk about Gore Magala, the moody, teenage poetry-writing goth dragon of the monster hunter world. This monster doesn't roar, it broods. It doesn't fly, it simmers. And when it gets mad, it doesn't go into rage mode. It throws a metaphysical temper tantrum that manifests as purple despair clouds and emotional damage. Gore Magala is that one coworker who never turns on the lights in the office and listens to black metal through a busted Bluetooth speaker. Now, against most weapons, fighting Gore Magala feels like trying to slap the sadness out of a thunderstorm, but not with the switch axe. Oh no. The switch axe is the therapist, the exorcist, and the motivational speaker Gore Magala never knew it needed. It's not just a weapon, it's a lifestyle intervention. First of all, the sheer reach of the switch axe is a game changer. Gore Magala's whole gimmick is getting up in your business with shadowy tendrils and blast zones of angst. But the switch axe says, "No thank you, edgelord," and politely smacks him from across the arena like a disappointed dad flipping a pancake of justice. And with that vertical reach, you're slicing through his wings like you're julienning a haunted baguette. And let's not forget the file explosions. While Gore Magala is busy releasing his signature scent, essence of doom and loneliness, the switch axe is planting file charges right into his dramatic forehead, turning his tortured inner monologue into a fireworks show. He's trying to narrate a dark novella, and you're over here turning his face into a 4th of July barbecue. He tries to infect you with the frenzy virus. Keyword, tries. Most hunters panic and roll around like a toddler in a supermarket, but the switch axe user just shrugs it off. Why? Because every dodge is just one more opportunity to vault straight back into axe mode and reapply a therapeutic dose of trauma right to Gore's shins. If he wanted this to be a poetic tragedy, he should have picked a different opponent. This is not Les Miserables. This is fast and furious, axes of vengeance. And let's talk about the morph mechanic. Nothing says versatility like instantly flipping from a huge slab of sharpened steel to a buzzing, glowing chainsaw of death. You know what Gore Magala hates? Consistency. You give him stability, he panics. So when you're constantly flipping modes mid-combo, Gore can't handle it. One minute you're slicing like a samurai, the next you're revving up like you're about to give his wings a discount oil change. His AI short circuits. He's like, wait, is this a heavy weapon? A light weapon? Are you dual blades in disguise? He can't process the identity crisis. You're giving him frenzy, but emotionally. Let's not ignore the aesthetics. Gore Magala looks like he was designed by a 13-year-old who just discovered shadow magic. You know what ruins that whole mystique? Getting absolutely slammed by a weapon that glows like a rave stick and screams, cyberpunk lumberjack. When you slap Gore Magala in the face with a glowing switch axe, you're not just damaging his health, you're dismantling his brand. His whole identity, shattered like his tail stub, which you just carved off mid-spin like a stylish garnish on your monster souffle. And the sounds, every hit from a switch axe makes this chunky crack noise, like Thor's hammer met a subwoofer. Meanwhile, Gore is shrieking like someone just canceled his Netflix subscription halfway through a moody documentary about existential dread. He wanted to be the monster that made people tremble. Instead, he's getting curb-stomped to the beat of a dubstep explosion symphony. You ever notice Gore Magala's big frenzy cloud phase? He gets all dramatic, wings flare out, field turns purple, and it's like a Beyoncé concert from the underworld. But a switch axe user doesn't panic. Oh no, we pop a mega potion like we're sipping an energy drink at a wrestling match and dive into the chaos. We don't dodge, we initiate. While everyone else is avoiding the cloud, switch axe mains are inside the cloud, planting file bursts like they're seasoning the meat with MSG and broken dreams. That cloud, that's not a problem. That's an opportunity. That's a dance floor. Gore wants it to be his domain of fear. Switch axe turns it into a mosh pit. You're crowd surfing through tentacle shadows, face slapping his frenzy zones, and carving your initials into his carapace like a kid with a tree and a switchblade. SA was here. Let's talk mounts. When Gore tries to take flight, it's not majestic, it's a flight of shame. because all it takes is one well-placed switch axe jump attack, and down he goes like a goth prom queen tripping over her cloak. Other weapons have to rely on wire bugs or slopes. We leap with the fury of a caffeinated kangaroo and dive bomb him like a meteor of pure, unfiltered hubris. When he hits the ground, it's not just a knockdown, it's a reality check. And status build-up? You bet. Elemental files or power files? Doesn't matter. You're either infusing every hit with pure elemental disrespect, or you're detonating chunks of his ego with every swing. Gore Magala's trying to narrate a soliloquy, and you're too busy turning his abdomen into abstract art. Let's not forget his tail. That tail's got more swish than a high-end curtain rod at a vampire ball. But with the switch axe, we're carving that thing off like it owes us money. The tail flip attack? Not today. You catch that move in axe mode, pivot mid-swing, and serve it back to him like a pizza of pain. You're not scared of his tail, you collect it. And the glow? Gore Magala thinks he's intimidating when he glows all purple. But that doesn't scare a switch axe user. You glow too. You both light up the battlefield like two neon signs having a domestic dispute outside a 24-hour monster diner. He's got the darkness, sure, but you've got the switch axe glow. And his darkness doesn't stand a chance against the sheer photoelectric violence you're unleashing on his torso. You ever see Gore Magala stagger? It's like a Victorian ghost fainting. So delicate, so melodramatic, he flops down like someone just insulted his poetry blog. Meanwhile, you're already morphing mid-combo, charging up the next slam, using his face as a landing pad for your confidence. The switch axe doesn't respect your feelings, Gore. It respects frame data. And when you break his horns, oh, it's over. He's trying to be this eldritch nightmare, but now he's got a head shaped like a crumpled trash can. Your switch axe is out here giving him unsolicited cosmetic surgery, and not even the good kind. This is backyard dental work using a sledgehammer and spite. There is no monster more fun to bully with the switch axe than Gore Magala. Why? Because he wants to be taken seriously. He craves that gravitas. But the switch axe treats him like a flying piñata full of gothic despair. He thought he was an apex predator. Instead, he's become the switch axe tutorial boss, a tragic figure in a cautionary tale told to other monsters. Don't mess with the morphing weapon. Even when he goes full Apex Gore mode, with the blindfold eyes and wing rage, the switch axe isn't worried. That's just more surface area to paint with slashes. We're not scared of Apex Gore. We're bored of him. His transformation is impressive until you realize it's just more material for us to break, slice, and mount like a wall trophy. So yes, bring on the black fog, the flying claw slaps, the spinning tantrums. Let him dive bomb. Let him scream. Let him drop frenzy like a high school poetry slam on fire. Because the switch axe doesn't just conquer Gore Magala, it remodels him, redesigns him, rebrands him. You walk in with a glowing death stick and walk out with a pile of parts and a very confused dragon in therapy. Because at the end of the day, there's only room for one moody force of chaos on this battlefield. And it's the hunter with the switch axe, armed, dangerous, and glowing like a rave god at a funeral. Gore Magala wanted to be the final boss of suffering. Instead, he became your warm-up. And that's the real power of the switch axe. Turning drama into comedy, terror into slapstick, and apex monsters into training dummies.
Stay focused.
Blangonga, the snow-flinging, ice-flipping, frosty-fisted, raging ice gorilla that looks like someone shoved a freezer into a monkey and said, "Good luck, hunter." And then there's me, waltzing into the frozen tundra with a switch axe that crackles like a thunderstorm on pre-workout. You know what Blangonga hates more than warmth? Me with a switch axe. Blangonga doesn't understand technology, much less the concept of transformation. This thing sees my switch axe switch modes mid-fight and has a full existential breakdown. Why axe? Why sword? Why both? Because I can, Snow Kong, I can. This big-fanged snowman thinks he's got hands. He thinks those frost slam punches mean something. But when you're wielding a weapon that casually turns into a chainsaw possessed by lightning, those snowballs are about as threatening as a wet napkin. You ever rev up a charged file blast right as he's mid-somersault? He lands thinking he did something. Meanwhile, I'm carving my initials into his spine. And let's talk movement. Blangonga thinks he's fast. He zips around like a giant ice ferret with ADHD. But you know what he can't dodge? Switch axe wild swings that don't care where you're aiming. Precision. Nah, volume. I'm not here to parry. I'm here to become a Beyblade and let it rip until the fur flies. Blangonga does that thing where he summons a wall of snow to body slam you like an avalanche with feelings. Very cute. Meanwhile, I'm charging red mode like I'm loading a god-tier ultimate, and the second he peeks out from his snow fortress, boom, sword mode file discharge directly to the chest. That's not just a counter. That's a snow refund. He leaps, I roll. He punches, I roll. He flips. Wait, never mind, I'm airborne too because switch axe let me disregard physics. We both come down, but he's getting back up with a limp and a broken ego while I'm sharpening just to flex.
I'm on it.
Blangonga's whole battle strategy is basically, I punch ground, I throw snow, I hope. But me, I've got a switch axe. My plan is hit it until it stops moving, and the weapon is so disrespectfully versatile that I can change strategies mid-swing. What do you do when the weapon that's cutting your face can also explode mid-slice? You scream. Blangonga screams. A lot. I sharpen once out of pure disrespect, chase him down, switch to sword mode, and slide into the finisher like I'm entering prom on a hoverboard made of vengeance. Let's take a moment to talk about what happens when Blangonga gets desperate. He starts summoning other Gonga bros, summons them out like backup dancers in a tragic musical. Oh no, he's got friends. Guess what? That just means I'm getting a group discount. 1 switch axe, 3 angry monkeys. That's called economies of scale, baby. While great sword mains are playing shuffleboard with their wind-ups, and dual blade users are out of stamina again, I'm in sword mode, unleashing enough elemental punishment to power a small village. My switch axe doesn't care if it's one Blangonga or a whole Planet of the Apes reboot. I'm carving through that drama like I'm auditioning for the role of final boss of the Ice Age. You ever see a Blangonga try to run away up a cliff? It's adorable. His big hairy behind waddling up an incline like he's late for a banana convention. But I've got movement tech, bro. Sword mode charges, quick morphs, ledge hops. I'm hovering up that mountain like I'm part jet engine, part blender, and all hate. Then he tries his final act. One last leap, fists out, yelling into the sky like he's challenging fate. And I answer. I morph mid-dodge, launch into a fade slash, activate power file, burst in his face so hard that he forgets he ever evolved from anything. He hits the ground, the music fades. I do the carve, not because I need materials, but because I earned this. I earned every furry, frosty, physics-defying inch of that monkey's hide. And as I walk away, switch axe on my back, snow blowing around me like a movie poster, I don't say a word. Because this weapon already spoke volumes. And with that, we close the 9th episode of Nigel Thornberry gets summoned into Monster Hunter Wilds while smashing monsters with the switch axe. Do you know what's also close? My appreciation to you is so close my face is on the monitor close. Anyways, thank you, you beautiful bastard. Have a nice day.